Hello everybody. This year, TryHackMe again created their own advent calendar for this year's holiday season. It is once again aimed at beginners, but I guess everyone can learn a few things from it here and there. So without further ado, my name is Avocari and it's time to get festive and crack open the first window of the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber 2022. Someone is coming to town. Okay, someone's coming to town. The story. John Hammond kicked it off on a video premiere, so there's also the walkthrough for it here. I guess we will not need it, or I hope we will not need it. Best festival company has been compromised. Someone is trying to stop Christmas this year and stop Santa from delivering gifts to children who are nice this year. The Best Festival Company website has been defaced, and children worldwide cannot send their gift requests. There's much work to be done to investigate the attack and test other systems. The attackers have left a puzzle for the elves to solve and learn who the adversaries are. Max Kitty looked at the puzzle and recognized some of the pieces as the phases of the unified kill chain. Oh, that's cool. A cybersecurity framework used to understand attackers. She has reached out to you to assist them in recovering the website, identifying the attackers, and helping save Christmas. Okay, I guess first of all we're gonna look through some different security frameworks. First of all, organizations such as Santa's Best Company must adjust and improve the cybersecurity efforts to prevent data breaches. Yeah, so for that we use security frameworks. There are processes where you have policies, procedures, and so on, which are then established and managed. You have blueprints for what you do in case of an attack. And there are different frameworks which we're gonna be talking about today. So, the cybersecurity framework is done by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, also called NIST. And generally speaking, we have 5 phases here: identify, protect, detect, response, and recover. I don't think we need to go more into detail for that. If you want to find out anything more about all the frameworks that we're going to be talking about now, the NIST framework, the ISO 2700 series, the Mitra attack framework, and also the cyber kill chain, then make sure to tell me in the comments about it, and I can make different videos talking about each of those frameworks. So now let's quickly look over the ISO series. I think the only thing we might need is that there are 2 standards which are most known, the 27001 and the 27002. So other than that, no, this is just they use an ISMS, and they have standards set through application of risk management. So more interesting is the Mitra attack framework. For that, you have the tactics, the techniques, and procedures, and they're carefully curated and detailed to ensure security teams can identify attack patterns. So if you're interested, there's a whole TryHackMe room dedicated to Mitra. If you want to check out more about this. The cyber kill chain is pretty important, and I think we will need it. So we have different phases. We start off with the recon phase. We will look around on the target, see what can we find. Then we use the weaponization phase to weaponize some sort of exploit and hopefully get into a service using delivery. The exploitation, CNC, command and control. Will this be talked? Yeah, we'll talk about this down here as well. So command and control, you have the communication channel between a compromised system and our infrastructure if we're the attacker. So with that we can send commands towards the system, and then we take on some actions on the objective. So for the unified kill chain, we have 3 cycles, which we're going to talk about. First of all, the in cycle with the reconnaissance, the weaponization, delivery, social engineering, pretty cool, done a lot of that. Exploitation, persistence, defense evasion, and command and control. So then the second cycle is the through cycle, where you pivot. So pivoting is that you launch an attack from one system in the network in order to gain access to other systems on the network. Like you're inside and you still look for all of the doors. Discovery you use in order to discover any vulnerabilities or other assets within the network. Maybe you find something interesting. Then you have privilege escalation or privesc. This is used to gain higher privileges on a server. So let's say you come in with a restricted user and you want to get the admin rights. You use privilege escalation in order to gain, for instance, root access, the credential access. Maybe there are some login credentials stored somewhere. Let's keep that in mind. Maybe we'll need this later on. And the lateral movement is the last part, where you use some extracted credentials in order to maybe find the same credentials on another server in the same system. And then the third phase is the out phase. This is compromising the CIA triad of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And for that we have collection, exfiltration, impact, and the objectives. So the collection is you find something, you need to aggregate everything together, exfiltrate it, get it out of the network, hopefully without triggering any other services, which then tell you, oh, wait, there are some documents, for instance, being sent over the network. And now it's up to us to save the best festival company. So now that we talked about the unified kill chain, with the security team, we need to implement these strategies to raise resilience against the attacks. Okay, so for that we need to help them to solve some sort of puzzle. Okay, so let's click the view site button. I guess this was up on the top, right? Yeah. Hello Santa. For years you have been delivered happiness and joy to millions around the world during the festivals. However, you have remained untested and the time has finally arrived to turn the best festival company into grumpy and miserable. Oh no. I have taken over your website and warehouse and it's time to turn Christmas into chaos. So, want to play a game to know who's behind all of the misery? So we're no longer the best festival company, we're the worst grumpy company. Oh dear, Santa got hacked. Okay, that's not good. Of course we want to find out who's behind that. So let's look at what we have to do. Okay, we have to solve 3 puzzles. A few of those topics that are right here we have already talked about and we saw earlier on. And we also have clues down here. So for the first phase, out of these things, research is part of my ask. Finding clues in public sources. So finding clues in public sources is most likely referring to reconnaissance. The next step, as we said earlier, would be that you turn some document into malware. This is called weaponization. The next part is you need to deliver it to the server. In this case, okay, pizza, parcel, payload, they all have me as an action in common. Okay, it's delivery. Then, a con in the name of my game, tricking you into believing a false identity. This is social engineering. You use false identities, for instance, in order to trick someone into believing you're someone who you're not. For instance, another employee of the same company and you forgot the password to some important server and they need to tell you that. That's called social engineering. Next up, you have weaknesses on my to-go resources. Through them, I make my presence felt. Weaknesses, out of those, command and control doesn't have to do anything with weakness. Defense evasion does also not have to do anything with weaknesses, also persistence, so exploitation is the only option that is feasible for me. Then the next part is the persistence. It's set up to let you back into the network after you leave. So persistence, you set up some sort of backdoor, for instance, open another port where you can open a shell and communicate with the server. Next up, deletion of evidence is part of my process. This is called defense evasion. You try to erase any tracks clear log files, for instance, so that they cannot see what you have done on the server. And the last part, communication with the compromised, goes through me. This is the command and control, or CNC. Okay, we did the first part. This was our in phase. So now that we're in, I guess we're talking about the second part here. Let's start. I am an anchor. Let's you go on an adventure and explore. So this is called pivoting. You pivot from one place to another. You start from one server, look for other servers. For that you use discovery, most likely. Yes. Once upon, I became a king. This is the next part. So we use privilege escalation to gain higher rights on the services. The next part that we will do is to infect as they come in contact with me. This is called execution. Then you collect passwords, which are the key to the mainframe. Well, this most likely is the credential access. So the last part is side to side, from machine to machine we hop. This is called lateral movement. Okay, simple second phase. We went with the through phase now. We've done everything, credential access and lateral movement. So now on to the third and final phase, the out phase. In your vault, I am in. We have access. Okay, cool. After we have access, we need to collect things. We need to collect everything together, find what we're after, collect all the evidences, and then we need to export them. So we need exfiltration. The fourth step then is that the reputation is going down. This is the impact that is being left afterwards, after an attack. And then finally the goal set, the goal attained, I win. This was my objectives. Okay, so we did all 3 puzzles. We find the flag, and we find who is behind all of that, and I was correct, the Bandit Yeti, who is on the t-shirt in the introduction video. Also be sure to check that one out. We looked behind the story of this year's Advent of Cyber, and we saw on a t-shirt there was the Bandit Yeti, so my guess was that he is the adversary of this year, and it looks like he is. So the Bandit Yeti is the adversary. And we also have our first flag. Try hack me, it's a Yeti Christmas. And this one is also correct. So we solved day 1 of the Advent of Cyber 2022. If you're interested in talking more about the unified kill chain, the cyber kill chain, Mitra, and all other cyber defense frameworks, be sure again to tell me in the comments about it, what you would want to hear. We can make a whole video about them, or another little series later on to check out more of that. Okay, so we completed also the last task. If we're interested, we can look through the other rooms on Try Hack Me. So that's it for the first day of the Advent of Cyber. Tomorrow we will continue with day 2. So make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell in order to be notified when the next video is released. Other than that, I am Avocari, and have fun hacking your way through the Advent of Cyber. Take care.